Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bitch and Brainstorm podcast. I'm your host, Elaine Terso, and I'm here with one of our guests, our panelist for the Elevate Your Coaching Business Summit happening tomorrow, January 17th, 2024. If you have not gotten your tickets, I don't know what you're waiting for. But for those of you that have never met Colleen, we're going to have her introduce herself, and then we're gonna dive in and just talk about all kinds of cool shit. So Colleen, tell us who you are and what you do.
Heck yeah. So, I was in corporate America for 3 decades and I retired from corporate America back in 2018 and started my business as an entrepreneur with the LEAP community. I bring women together that are building small businesses so that they have a place with like-minded women for them to grow their businesses, but also to get the visibility they need. That's the number one thing for me is visibility for your brand. If no one knows who you are, then you don't have a business because you don't have any customers. So I really believe in that and provide that in my community for women. And I also take women's ideas and I help them launch them into cash. So I've been doing that now for several years, 22 years. I've launched about 365 businesses, taking ideas to fruition with cash, making money off of it. That's my favorite thing to do in the service industry, not in the product industry, but the service industry. So that's me and that's who I am. And I have 7 kids, 12 grandkids, one more on the way. My husband and I own about 3 more businesses here in Arizona that we own with our kids. They run them on the front end. So it's very nice to be in business with family and to be able to do that.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
you are going to be a part of our business structure panel, specifically talking about creating a CEO calendar in alignment with your goals and values, which is one of my favorite things to talk about because once I did that for myself, it became a game changer. So I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about how do you set yours up? Where do you start? Because it's kind of like this, but where do I
Yeah.
start? How do I do that?
And I did a whole video on this that you have in your
Yep.
platform. So
For the
anyone
VIP
that,
people, get all the
yes,
extra goodies.
anyone that's watching this that's a VIP, go watch that because it's going to share with you a little bit more about how to set that up. But I shared a story that back in corporate America, people were constantly, because I was a director and a VP. And so you had to, be in all these meetings. And so they would just look for open spots on your schedule. And whoever was available, most of everyone, they would just schedule on that time. They didn't care if it was lunchtime. They didn't care if it was a time that you had another appointment, if you didn't have your schedule blocked. So that was kind of this learning point for me, which was my things that I'm working on, my projects, my clients, my time away, my whatever it is that you're working on, you have to schedule it in your schedule to
Yes.
block yourself out so that other people, this is a boundary thing, by the way, so
Yep.
that other people don't schedule on top of all of these important things that you need to get done. So let's talk about goals for one. When you set your goals, you know that you want to make a certain amount of money, you want to launch a conference, you want to launch a retreat, you want to launch a program. That takes a lot of preparing. So on your schedule, you need to block off everything that you need to do to prepare to do that. So for instance, I launched a conference last November that I do twice a year. And so there were a lot of emails I had to send. There were a lot of preparations on the back end that had to be done. So I blocked all of those things off and I didn't know exactly everything that I was working on at that time, but I would block off and say, EE conference prep or EE conference emails or EE conference. And then I would put some notes in there of some things I needed to take care of. So those are how you reach your goals. If you don't set time aside,
Yep.
plan it ahead of time, you're not going to reach your goals. So you're not really being the CEO. You're not driving the vision of the business, which is what the CEO's position is,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So when we talk about values, for me, when I talk about values, there's that boundary. I take every Friday off. Now, that doesn't mean I don't work, but I block my entire Friday. Nobody can get on my calendar on a Friday. I might go for an IV hydration. I might get my nails done. I might get a facial, but I also might just sit and work on conference stuff. I might work on returning emails. There might have been a lot of things I needed to take care of during the week that I didn't get done that I just need to finish up on a Friday. So I love that quiet time of not having to be on camera for one, right? Because I'm on camera every day, like all week long. And I
Same.
love having that time for myself. The
Yeah.
other thing that I want to point out about values, because I talked about boundaries, is for me, when I think of values, I think of family as my biggest value. So on my calendar, my children send me all of their sports schedules for my grandkids. So when I get them, I put them on my calendar and I add my husband to it and I share it on his calendar. And if someone wants us to go to an event or a marketing thing or a networking thing or anything during the week, that I might already have a baseball game scheduled, a football game scheduled, a soccer game, a gymnastics, I don't go. I say my family's first.
Yeah.
So I put those on my schedule because of that. If that's my highest value, then why wouldn't I block time for that activity? And if
Yeah.
my children call me and say, hey, can you pick up these kids at school? Can you do this? Can you do that? I put it on my schedule. They leave weeks at a time. So I encourage my kids to go away on vacations for weeks where we'll watch the kids. And as long as it's predetermined, like I just got an email yesterday from my daughter saying, we planned a Greek cruise to Greece in 2025 on these dates. Are you free? Like she knows, like, let's plan it way in advance. And
Yeah.
I was like, heck yeah, I'll
Yeah.
totally block that off. I'm
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
So I do think it's important to, one, put all your schedule on there for the CEO vision of your business, all your goals, what you need to do, and block it out so people can't book around you. The second thing is have boundaries. So if someone says, oh, I'm not free on that day, I'm not free, don't take your Friday, if that's your private day, and start scheduling a bunch of calls on there. Why? Because you're going to be so mad at yourself that you did that.
Yeah.
You've done it, right, Elaine? I've done it.
Girl.
And I'm
Yep.
like, why did I do that? I don't want
Yep.
to have these calls on a Friday,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Exactly.
know?
I typically I have very like specific windows on my calendar when will take clients. So like
That's another really great opportunity.
yeah.
Do you remember Spanx?
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is what she did. She said she would have meetings for sales, then she'd have meetings for design, then she'd have meetings for marketing, all like in the same day. And she said, my mind could not, Sarah was like, my
Yes.
mind cannot shift
Yep.
from marketing to design to sales in one day. So she said, I made all my sales on one day, next
Yep.
day, but any design meetings were always on that day. So we get to, just like you said, set up our schedules. So
Yep.
if you only want to take clients, I only take coaching clients 3 days a week. That's it. I
Same.
don't coach on Mondays and
Yep.
I don't coach on Thursdays. I coach, well, and Fridays. So I coach Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I
Uh-huh.
have windows open for that. I
Yep.
think it's important for us to know when is our best time, when
Yep.
we're at our best to coach.
Yep.
And then, events in my community, I have them running when it's typically like a lunchtime for most people
Yep.
in the, United States. So I think about those kind of things and I block them off way in advance so that I have that time scheduled and I know, oh, I'm going to be speaking in 2 weeks. I need to give her this item. So I have it marked off so that my assistants know we have to have this ready and sent over.
Yeah.
You can also build it out for your team so they know what you're working on and what they should be working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that was hardest for me when I was building out my calendar was honoring what I had put on my calendar. So like I had blocked out when I was doing photography, right? I only did uh I scheduled, like I was very intentional with how I scheduled stuff because I had at the time I had a commitment at 4:45
Okay.
every day. I had to go pick up my kid, right? From his workout. And so that started. And then I needed me time. I put that first thing in the morning,
Yeah.
right? And then I
Yep.
only did photo shoots on these certain days because I had a hair and makeup artist that I had to schedule with. So like
Mhm.
we had, right? So everything that I did, and I had like I want to do education. So I'm going to put every Friday at this time, I'm going to work, I'm going to find something to learn more about. And then I would go, eh. So I wasn't honoring, so
Oh,
call it future self, right? My future self put this calendar together because it's how
yeah.
I wanted to succeed. And my current self is sabotaging the fuck out of it.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
No.
That's a boundary thing and that's a
Yeah.
worthiness thing. So
Yes.
to not honor your own schedule, that's the one thing holding you accountable.
I
So
100%
if you
agree.
need to find someone as an accountability partner to hold you accountable to your schedule,
Yeah.
do it. I
Yep.
always say you need to be around people that build you up, not break you down. And you
Yep.
need to be around people that fuel you and that support you. And you can always find a great accountability partner to ask you why didn't you get that done, why aren't you honoring yourself,
Yep.
to get you to answer that question.
Uh-huh.
What is the big deal? Like, why aren't you honoring that time?
Right.
A great successful CEO never lets the day-to-day stuff interfere with focus time. So even if you have to put focus time, and that's focus time to work on things, I myself have to label what it is that I'm working on.
Yep.
I can't just say focus time,
Yep.
but I label it. And I even put in, like, if my husband's like, hey, let's have dinner at 5, I'll put that in the schedule from 5 to 6 so no one blocks me out on a call or anything. And I literally schedule everything. People make fun of me. This was the perfect subject for me. People
Uh-huh.
make fun of me because I schedule everything: time with my kids, time with my husband, time for my gratitudes in the morning, my workout, my shower. I have shower and get ready. Like, these are just regular things on my calendar all the time. I do not want them to get blocked. That will always be my time before I get ready. And it has not changed the success of my business. In fact, my business has continued to climb, even though I take all that time for my family, because there's no balance. You have to make it a priority. So for everyone listening, what is your priority in your life? Do you want to grow your business and at the same time still spend time with your kids or grandkids or family or spouse or significant other? If that's the case, you have to block it out of your schedule and manage your schedule like a professional.
Uh-huh.
You have to.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more. I've learned so many amazing lessons about time blocking and
Yeah.
honoring that and the boundaries and all of the things that come along with that. So I'm so excited that we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Can you share a little bit about what your 5-minute talk is going to be about?
Yeah. My 5-minute talk is really going to be all about why time blocking, how it changed my life and how it has brought success to my business and to my personal life. I feel that when we block personal time and business time aside, and then we are fully plugged in that moment, we find success, because there's nothing that feels better. Like, women love to do's. So
Yeah.
there's nothing that feels better than checking off a to-do. And really what you're doing in your calendar is checking off those to-dos as you do each one of those things. And if you put your priorities on your schedule and you follow that schedule, you will walk away that day feeling like, wow, I got so much accomplished. This is insane. So
Yeah.
really it just comes down to priorities, and holding yourself accountable to your schedule.
Yep, 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. Well, I am
Yeah.
so excited to have you as part of our summit. So again, if you have not gotten your tickets, you can get them at elevateyourcoachingsummit.com. We'll see you guys at the summit. Thank you, Colleen.
Bye.